Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Today I will discuss about interview questions and answers related to the internal promotion examinations for banks. Welcome to part 31 of my Path to the Corner Office 2025-2026 series, where I simplify bank promotion examination interviews with practical questions and answers, examples to help you climb the banking career ladder faster. Interview questions and answers from digital fraud, prevention and control. What is digital fraud in banking? Answer. Digital fraud in banking refers to illegal activities where fraudsters manipulate digital channels like internet banking, mobile banking, ATMs to steal money, data or commit unauthorized transactions. Question. Name the common types of digital fraud in banking. Answer. Phishing, smishing, malware attacks, identity theft, card not present fraud, account takeover, and ATM scheming. Question. What is phishing? Answer. Phishing is a cyber attack where fraudsters impersonate trusted entities like banks to trick users into revealing confidential information such as passwords, OTPs, or account numbers. Question. What is phishing? Answer. Phishing is voice phishing where fraudsters call customers pretending to be a bank officials to obtain sensitive information. Question. What is smishing? Dismissing is SMS phishing, where fraudsters send fraudulent SMS messages to trick customers into sharing confidential details or clicking malicious links. Question. What is account takeover fraud? Answer. Account takeover occurs when a fraudster gains unauthorized access to a customer bank account and performs transactions without consent. Question. How does ATM skimming work? Fraudsters attach devices to ATMs that capture card details and pins, enabling them to clone the card and withdraw funds illegally. Question. What is malware in the context of digital banking fraud? Answer. Malware is malicious software installed on devices to steal banking credentials, intercept transactions, or spy on users' activities. Question. What is identity theft in banking? Answer. Identity theft occurs when fraudsters use someone's personal information to open accounts, take loans, or perform unauthorized transactions. Question. What is card not present fraud? Answer. Card not present fraud occurs when fraudsters use stolen card details for online or telephone transactions without physically processing the card. Question. What are OTPs and how do they help prevent fraud? Answers. OTPs, one-time passwords, are temporary codes sent to customers for transaction verification. They prevent unauthorized access even if credentials are stolen. Question. What is two-factor authentication? 2FA. Answer. 2FA is a security method requiring two forms of verification, typically something the user knows the password and something the user has OTP or device. Question. How can banks prevent phishing attacks? Answer. Banks prevent phishing by educating customers, sending warnings, monitoring suspicious activities, and using secure communication channels. Question. How can malware attacks be prevented? Answer. By keeping devices updated, using antivirus software, avoiding suspicious links, and educating customers about cyber hygiene. Question. What is end-to-end encryption in digital banking? End-to-end answer. End-to-end encryption ensures that data transmitted between the bank and the customer is encrypted and cannot be intercepted by third parties. Question. Why is customer awareness important in fraud prevention? Answer. Because most digital frauds exploit human errors, educating customers reduces risk and improves early detection. Question. How can bank monitor digital fraud in real time? Answer. Through fraud detection systems, AI-based anomaly detection, transaction monitoring, and risk scoring models. Question. What role does multi-factor authentication play in fraud control? Answer. It adds layers of verification, making it harder for fraudsters to access accounts even if one credentials is compromised. Question. Name some digital fraud prevention best practices for customers. Answer. Avoid sharing PIN or OTP, use strong passwords, regularly update devices, monitor account statements, and report suspicious activity immediately. Question. How do banks secure online transactions? Answer. Using encryption, secure protocols, HTTPS, transaction limits, OTPs, device recognition, and behavioral analytics. Question. Which Indian regulatory body oversees digital banking fraud prevention? Answer. The Reserve Bank of India sets guidelines, regulations, and frameworks for digital fraud prevention. Question. What is the RBI circular on cybersecurity framework for banks? Answers. RBI mandates banks to implement robust cybersecurity frameworks, including risk assessment, fraud monitoring, and incident response, and customer awareness. Question. What is the role of KYC in digital fraud prevention? Answer. KYC, know your customer, ensures customer identity and verification to prevent identity theft, money laundering, and account misuse. Question. What is RBI's guidelines on customer liability in digital fraud? Answer. RBI guidelines limit customer liability in certain unauthorized transactions if reported promptly and the customer has not acted negligently. Question. What is the CERT-in and how does it relate to banks? Answer. CERT-in Computer Emergency Response Team India issues alerts and advisories on cyber threats to banks for proactive measures. Question. What is the IT Act 2000? The Information Technology Act 2000 provides legal recognitions for electronic transactions and penalties for cybercrime in India. Question. Mention RBI's framework for handling card fraud. Answer. RBI requires banks to implement fraud monitoring, reporting, customer dispute resolution, and transaction alerts for card-based frauds. Question. What is the role of internal audits in fraud prevention? Answer. Internal audits review controls, monitor suspicious activities, and recommend measures to strengthen fraud prevention systems. Question. What is RBI's guideline on OTP security? Answer. RBI mandates OTPs should be unique, time-bound, and transmitted securely without being stored in plain text. Question. How should banks handle cyber fraud complaints? Answer. Banks must investigate promptly, report to regulators, assist affected customers, and strengthen preventive controls. Question. What is a fraud detection system? FDS. Answer. FDS is software that monitors transactions in real time, identifies unusual patterns, and flags potential frauds. Question. How does AI help in digital fraud prevention? Answer. AI can analyze large volumes of transactions data, detect anomalies, predict fraud patterns, and automate alerts. Question. What is anomaly detection in banking? Answer. Identify transactions that deviate from normal customer behavior to detect potential fraud. Question. What role does blockchain play in fraud prevention? Answer. Blockchain ensures secure, immutable transactions records, reducing the risk of tampering and unauthorized access. Question. What is tokenization in digital payments? Answer. Tokenization replaces sensitive data like card numbers with unique tokens to prevent data theft. Question. How do banks detect phishing websites? Answer. By monitoring URL patterns, SSL certificates, user reports, and using anti-phishing software. Question. What is device fingerprinting in banking? Answer. Device fingerprinting identifies unique devices used for login or transactions to detect suspicious activity. Question. How do banks use transaction velocity monitoring? Answer. Banks track the frequency and amount of transactions to detect unusual spikes indicative of fraud. Question. What is behavioral biometrics? Answers. Technology analyzing user behavior, typing patterns, mouse movement to detect account takeover attempts. Question. How can mobile banking apps prevent fraud? Answer. Through secure coding, encryption, OTPs, device binding, regular updates, and risk-based authentication. Question. A customer reports an unauthorized online transaction. What steps would you take? Answer. Verify the transaction, block the account or card if needed, investigate, report to regulators, and assist the customer in dispute resolution. Question. How can banks educate customers about digital fraud? Answer. Through SMS alerts, emails, webinars, social media campaigns, brochures, and branch counseling. Question. What would you do if you notice multiple failed login attempts on a customer account? Answers. Temporarily block the account, alert the customer, investigate the source, and strengthen authentication measures. Question. A customer clicked a phishing link and shared OTP. What immediate action is required? Answer. Freeze the account, change credentials, reverse fraudulent transactions if possible, and report the incident. Question. How can social engineering attacks be prevented? Step. Staff and customer awareness, strict verification protocols, and avoiding sharing confidential information over calls or emails. Question. Describe a red flag transaction pattern. Answers. Large transactions from new locations, rapid multiple transactions, or transactions inconsistent with normal behavior. Question. How can banks balance customer convenience with fraud prevention? Answer. Using risk-based authentication, transaction monitoring, and educating customers without orderly restricting access. Question. What is role-based access control (RBAC) in fraud prevention? Answer. Limiting system access to employees based on roles reduces internal fraud risk. Question. A fraudster uses a stolen mobile device for banking. How can it be prevented? Answer. Device binding, OTP verification, app authentication, and immediate blocking on suspicious device activity. Question. How can banks ensure secure e-commerce transactions? Answer. Using secure payment gateways, tokenization, two-factor authentications, and transaction monitoring. Question. What is a man in the middle attack? Answer. A cyber attack where fraudsters intercept communication between the customer and the bank to steal credentials or manipulate transactions. Question. What is SIM swap fraud? Answer. Fraudsters trick telecom operators to activate a victim's number on a new SIM, enabling OTP interception and account takeover. Question. How do banks mitigate SIM swap fraud? Answer. Using alerts for SIM changes, transaction verification beyond OTP, and customer awareness. Question. What is ransomware and how does it affect banks? Ransomware encrypts bank data, demanding ransom for release. It disrupts operations and can facilitate fraud. Question. What is the difference between internal and external fraud? Answer. Internal fraud is committed by employees. External fraud is by outsiders targeting customers or the bank. Question. How do banks conduct fraud risk assessment? Answers. Identifying vulnerabilities, evaluating potential impact, assessing controls, and implementing mitigation strategies. Question. What is the significance of ISO 27001 in banking? Answer. ISO 27001 provides standards for information security management critical for digital fraud prevention. Question. How do banks respond to cyber fraud incidents? Answer. Incident detection, investigation, containment, reporting, recovery, and improving preventive controls. Question. What is phishing resistant authentication? Answer. Using security keys, biometrics, or app-based verification to prevent credential theft via phishing. Question. How do you stay updated on emerging digital fraud trends? Answer. Following RBI circulars, CARTIN alerts, cybersecurity reports, fintech news, and internal fraud intelligence reports. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, subscribe, and share.